Um, Welcome to the Planning Board meeting of November 5th, 2020. I'm going to call the meeting to order. And if everybody could stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag
To the
of the
flag
United States of
of the
America
United States of America
and
to the republic
for which it stands,
stands
one
one
nation,
nation
under God,
under God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with liberty and
liberty
justice
and
for all.
justice for
justice
all.
for all. Okay,
All right,
Thank
roll
you.
call from Liz. Chairman LaRue is going to be absent this meeting, so Vice Chairman Impemba.
yes.
Member Clerk Raymond.
Yes,
Member Covino.
Present.
Member Espejo.
Present.
Member Gaffney.
Yes.
Member Rappaport.
Present.
Excellent.
Okay.
Okay, Joe, go ahead, Joe.
Yep, the town of Burlington will be holding the November 5th, 2020 Planning Board as a virtual electronic meeting due to the current state of emergency due to the COVID-19 virus. As such, the governor issued an executive order on March 12, 2020, authorizing remote meetings under General Laws, Chapter 30A, Section 20. Kristen?
So this meeting is held via Cisco WebEx and is accessible as follows. The link is also available on the Planning Board website and posted on the agenda on the town calendar. The meeting, again, it's townofburlingtonwebex.com. The meeting number is 173-897-1700, meeting password 2020. If you want to join by phone, it's 617-315-0704. This meeting is also being broadcast on BCAT, government channel Comcast 99, RCN 15, Verizon 41, and streamed on Facebook Live via the BCAT Facebook page. The public can make comments during the public hearing. During the time for public comments, questions can be asked via WebEx, phone, Facebook Live, WebEx chat, and email at planning@burlington.org during the meeting. All persons wishing to ask a question or make a comment must identify themselves. If you have any questions regarding participation during the meeting, please call planning staff at 781-270-1645 or email us at planning@burlington.org. And a reminder to everyone that all votes will be taken by a roll call vote. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thanks, Kristen. Just to let everyone know, as according to the agenda, we're going to leave the regular session and enter into an executive session now. And I think the approximate time is going to be somewhere in the vicinity of 30 minutes. And if somebody could please give us a motion to the effect, I'd appreciate it. Or Ernie, I'm sorry, Ernie.
Sure, Mr. Chairman, this is Ernie. I'd like to make a motion to enter into executive session per general law, chapter 30A, section 21A3, in order to discuss/consider strategy with respect to litigation in the matter of General Walker Estates LLC versus LaRue et al. Land Court docket number 20, miscellaneous 000342, where an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the litigating position of the planning board and the chair so declares, and to reconvene in regular session at the conclusion of the executive session as is authorized by general law, chapter 30A, section 21B4.
This is Mike. I'll second that motion.
Vice Chairman Impemba.
Yes.
Member Clerk Raymond.
yes,
Member Covino.
Yes.
Member Gaffney.
Yes.
Member Espejo.
Yes.
Member Rappaport.
Yes.
Okay, see you there.
All right. Citizens time. Yeah, I'm looking to see where I'm looking at announcements. So hold on one sec here.
Oh, am I?
Yeah, I get announcements next on the.
It's
Okay, here we go.
it's section 3 of the So, yeah, so citizens time, then announcements. So if you want to ask if there's anyone.
Oh,
in
I'm
the
sorry.
audience.
Yep, that's my fault. Citizens time. Do we have any citizens out in the audience that would like to have anything to say or
On
any
matters
items
that are
you
not
wanna-
on our agenda.
on matters that are not on the agenda, right?
Jen, do we see anybody?
Seeing nobody.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So next is announcements. Item 4.
Sure, so I'll take that. This is Liz. Just reminder that the mandatory water ban is still in effect. So see the website for more detailed information. I want to let all of the board members know that the Citizens Planner Training Collaborative fall workshops are up and rolling. And they're just a great set of classes that you can take. They're one night over Zoom and kind of give you more ins and outs of the planning world and roles and responsibilities of boards and all that kind of stuff. So I have links to that, and it's open to all members. There will be we're getting a new town website. It's going to go live on November 9th, and that will still be at burlington.org. The Sculpture Park Committee will have a meeting on November 10th at 7:30 a.m. via Zoom. Veterans Day is November 11th. The town hall and all town offices will be closed. We'll be hosting a Northwest Park Housing Committee meeting on November 12th at 11 a.m. and that's via WebEx.
That's at 1 p.m.
1
Sorry.
p.m. Via WebEx. My apologies. The Thanksgiving holiday, if you can believe it, is coming up. November 26th and 27th, all town offices will be closed, and we do close early on the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. I think we close at 3, but I could be wrong. And the selectmen at their meeting this week appointed a new inspector of buildings. The gentleman's name is Mark DePel. And he's expected to start later this month. He has previously worked in Chelmsford and Foxborough. And that's all.
Okay,
from
great.
me.
Thanks,
Mr.
Liz.
Chairman,
I know,
Paul.
Kristen. Oh, sorry, Kristen. You had mentioned that when Liz had said 11 a.m. on the Northwest Park Housing Committee, that it's down here as 11 a.m. Is it 1 p.m.?
It is
not
1.
11 a.m.
It is
Okay.
1 p.m. Yep.
So it's incorrectly. Okay, and then legal notices of interest. It appears we have none.
I think Paul Raymond might have had a question.
yes, I have a question,
Paul,
Mr.
I'm sorry.
Chairman.
None.
Or
Yep,
a
go ahead.
suggestion. I would like
Yep.
to see our new inspector of buildings or invite him to our meeting just so we could meet him, introduce himself and so forth, so we'd know who he is. And he
That's
would
a
know
great,
who
that's
we
a
are.
great idea. Yeah, no, that's a great idea. I fully agree with that. I think we should give him an invitation to the next meeting.
Good, thanks.
Yep. Thanks, Paul.
Will do.
It says later this month. Is he going to be? I mean, I don't want him to make a special meeting out. I guess. I mean, a special time for the meeting. But I guess whether it's the next meeting or the one after, whenever he starts, if unless he's inclined to make a special trip out to a meeting. But
Well, we'll target
so
early December, and I think if he can do most of these meetings from your living room, so if he can take a few minutes with us, that'd be great.
Right. I forgot all about that. I'm sitting in my room, and I should know that. So, all right. Thanks, Paul. And then legal notices of interest. There appears to be none. Non-approvals, none. Administrative matters, none. Matters of appointment. 8A is a continued public hearing application for approval of an amendment to a subdivision plan for 108 Muller Road. Edward and Yelena Yavaskaya applicant. Apologize for hacking up the name, but do we have a motion on that? I guess we're gonna have a motion to. They've asked to continue it to December 4th.
So,
the
Mr.
meeting of,
Chairman, I did speak with the applicant's attorney. One of the main reasons for continuation is the absence of our chair. And when I spoke with him last night, he was going to talk with the clients and asked to continue. We do have a Form S, which has been agreed to mutually extend the timeline from November 10th to December 4th, which you'll see, which is in the motion. But the applicant is not here this evening and has asked for continuance.
Okay, great, thanks, Chris.
Okay.
We have a motion on
Mr.
that.
Chairman, sure. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that the planning board hereby mutually agrees and endorses a Form S to extend the statutory deadline to file the decision from November 10th, 2020 to December 4th, 2020, and to further continue this matter to the planning board meeting of November 19th, 2020, as requested by the applicant's attorney in an email dated November 4th, 2020.
Okay, thanks, Ernie. We have a second to that?
This is Mike. I'll second.
Second, Paul.
Okay,
Thank you.
roll call. Vice Chairman Impemba,
Yes.
Member Clark Raymond,
Yes.
Member Covino, Member Gaffney,
Yes.
Member Espejo,
Yes.
Member Rappaport,
Yes.
Okay, great. Item 8B, a public hearing application for approval of a special permit pursuant to section 4.2.6.20.1, massage therapy of the zoning bylaw, 75 Middlesex Turnpike, Burlington Mall, Tina Bodywork applicant. We have the applicants. I assume the applicants are present at the meeting, right?
Mr. Chair, this is Kristen Kasner. So the applicants are here. I first wanted to just mention one of the main issues that we had at the last meeting was some concerns about the interior space and comments from the building department about the previous space had a bunch of smaller rooms, and the nature of the massage therapy that was being described here was that of what was being done, kind of, as many of you noticed, was in the kind of the mall corridors and different kind of massage and reflexology. So the building department was very concerned about having doors and privacy within rooms and has asked that we condition it such that the doors be taken off, the door frames be taken off, and that there's not curtains and other things in the tenant space itself. We have, I know Liz has been in contact with the building department, and I guess I would just ask for Tina Bodywork to confirm that is that they are comfortable with that condition and that's how they want to move forward. And other than that, we really don't have any concerns about the application, and that would satisfy the concerns of the building department. So,
Okay. Thanks,
so-
Kristen. Did they has the applicant been made aware of that previously, or?
yes, they have. I've been in contact with them via our online permitting system. They've also provided us with a new floor plan, an updated floor plan that shows the removal of the doors. So I just, I guess, see if the
Okay,
applicant is
great.
amenable to those conditions.
yeah, so with
Yep,
that, so
we-
Tina Bodywork, do you have any new comments, or is that condition favorable to you? You're on mute still.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So the door have been removed, and everything was set up as what was a request from the town. So right now we just waiting for like the uh the business.
Okay. I was breaking up. I wasn't, I heard half of that. I'm not sure if everybody, if it was just breaking up for me or if,
It was
if
breaking up
everybody
for
was
all
able
of it.
to
I
hear.
believe they were talking about just waiting for the special permit to operate the business. It's the gist of what
Okay.
that was.
But they
Um,
said that, I did hear them say the doors were off and everything was set up the way they were, the way it was suggested that they do, or it was, they were asked to do correctly?
That's correct,
or-
Joe. They did confirm that
Yeah.
they have complied with the building department's requests and that the doors have been
Okay.
removed.
Okay, thanks, Liz.
Yeah.
Do we have any, are there any new department comments?
There are not, Joe. I have looked through our permitting software and I kind of have been going back and forth with Andy and the building department, and there really aren't any new comments. The only comments we have, just from Christine Mathis of the Board of Health, that a pre-renovation, pre-demolition inspection checklist needs to be done with them. And then all of Andy's kind of issues have been resolved. And then just very generic, the regular from the engineering department about if you're installing a new water meter, the size of plans, as-built, et cetera. All that is kind of very much boilerplate. So there aren't any new comments of note, I would say.
Okay, great. Does the applicant, is the applicant aware of all of the comments from all the departments and any other conditions? And are they in agreement with that?
yes, they've been sent all the comments and conditions.
They're aware, they understand, and they agree, okay?
Yep.
So why don't we get some comments from the board? If anybody on the board has comments, let me just go down the line and start at Paul. Paul, any comments?
No, it seems everything has been taken care of.
Oh, okay, great, thank you. Ernie?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm all set.
Oh, okay, great. Bill?
All set, Mr. Chairman. Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks, Bill. Mike?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. One question for the applicant. Thank you for joining us tonight. I understand you've removed the doors from the treatment areas. Are you going to be using those rooms for treatment, just without the doors, or what's the plan there?
Yeah, the room will be used for the treatment. So as what we agree on, there will be no door or curtain at all. I mean, for the treatment room. So.
And will there be treatment in other areas of the?
你前面是放椅子嘛，对不对？
什么？
椅子那边沙发的是推脚的。
对，没有门。
And then when you enter to the lot, so if you look at the map, I mean the floor plan, there will be some of the what do you call the sofa chair, which is for the purpose of the reflexology.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. No further questions.
Okay, thanks, Mike. And Brenda?
No questions, Mr. Thank you.
Okay, great. Do we have any members of the public? Being on a public hearing, are there any members of the public or the audience that have any questions, comments, or anything that they want to add?
Seeing nobody.
Okay, great. Seeing nobody, I think we will need to get a motion to close the public hearing on this matter.
Mr. Chairman, make a motion to close the public hearing on this matter.
Thank you. A second?
Second?
Okay, roll call. Vice Chairman Impemba.
Yes.
Member Clerk Raymond.
Yes,
Member Cavino.
Yes.
Member Gaffney.
Yes.
Member Espejo.
Yes.
Member Rappaport.
Yes.
Okay,
Mr.
great.
Chairman, Mr. Chairman, like to make a motion to approve the request of Shenangan I'm sorry to mess that up, Chow, for a special permit pursuant to section 4.2.6.20.1 massage therapy of the Burlington zoning bylaw to permit the operation of a business office foot flexology and bodywork practice within 1,600 plus or minus square foot tenant space within the Burlington Mall. Said property is within the general business zoning district located at 75 Middlesex Turnpike, subject to the terms and conditions contained in Exhibit A attached.
We have a second?
Second,
you.
Paul.
Okay,
Okay,
roll
thank-
call. Vice Chairman Impemba.
Yes.
Member Clerk Raymond.
Yes.
Member Covino.
Yes.
Member Gaffney.
Yes.
Member Espejo.
Yes.
Member Rappaport.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to take items C through K for discussion purposes.
Great. Thanks, Ernie. We have a second?
Second, Paul.
Thanks, Paul.
Vice Chairman Impemba.
Yes.
Member Clerk Raymond.
Yes.
Member Covino.
Yes.
Member Gaffney.
Yes.
Member Espejo.
Yes.
Member Rappaport.
Yes.
Joe, would you like me to summarize the C through K?
That would be
Um,
great. Yeah, or
items.
else I'm not sure if it's necessary that I read every one, but we could be here for a while.
No, I can
We
summarize a
might
little
miss-
bit.
we could miss The Bachelor if that's the case.
Yeah, the novel. So I'm just gonna read off the first and then the additional special permit section. So this is item C through, let's see, C through J are special permit applications, and it's a public hearing. Application for approval of special permits pursuant to section 4271 light manufacturing and processing plants, prototype manufacturing. Special permit pursuant to 42711 research and development. Special permit pursuant to section 4274 laboratories engaged in research, experimental and testing activities, including but not limited to the fields of chemistry, electronics, engineering, geology, non-biologic medicine, and physics. Special permit pursuant to 42741 life science laboratories engaged in research, prototype manufacture, experimental testing activities, including but not limited to the fields of pharmaceuticals, biomedical technologies, and engineering, life science technologies, environmental and biomedical devices, subject to the regulations of the Board of Health. Is this, anyway, that one I think is a little, anyway, well, anyway. And then 42742, life science laboratories engaged in manufacture of life science technologies and medicines for commercial production to the market. And special permit section 4329, parking garages and parking structures for more than 3 vehicles, both enclosed and open garages, structures above and below ground, public hearings, approval of special permit pursuant to section 43215, storage and disposal of fuels, petroleum, and petroleum products. All of these special permits are for 300 Summit Drive. The Gutierrez Company is the applicant. One more special permit, 426, special permit for increasing the maximum parking space requirements for non-specific, non-residential, non-educational uses. 300 Summit Drive, an application of a site plan, 300 Summit Drive, the Gutierrez Company applicant. So take it away, Joe.
Okay. All right. So we have,
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. For the record, Robert. Yeah, good evening, Mr. Chairman. For the record, Robert Buckley, Reamer and Bronstein. I have with me this evening Scott Weiss from the Gutierrez Company and Will Park from Sims Maney McKee, the site civil consultant. This is the culmination of a journey that commenced when the town embarked on changing its zoning to permit more flexible zoning in the IH district to attract life sciences to Burlington. This is, as you recall, have come to the board a number of times, most recently to create the lot on which this building is being sited, 300 Summit Drive. In today's marketplace, it is absolutely critical in this industry to go to market with a building that has been permitted because of the speed of how where they want to be and how quickly they want to be there. I want to make it clear that while this building is being permitted and approved, it does not negate or eliminate the need when a user is found to appear before the Board of Health in the town. As you may recall, they adopted a number of regulations to review the operations of a user. So if we are granted these permits, this will allow the applicant to go to the marketplace, hopefully find a user that would be suitable for the town and an exciting user for the town. And if that user is obtained, they would have to go through the Board of Health review and permitting procedures. It's been a very interesting journey to get here. It's been an exciting journey, and there's a lot of excitement in the marketplace because of what Burlington has done. It's been noticed at the state level, as I know Kristen and the planning board staff is aware of, and hopefully we'll get this permit and be able to deliver a first-class life science user for the town. At this point, I don't know if you want to say anything, Scott, or I can have Will walk the board through the site plan. And
good evening. Thank you, everyone, for your time tonight. And as Bob said, I just wanted to echo that we're excited to be here. It is a long process if you think about it. Even nearly 2 years ago with some of the zone changes in town to get to this point, to get to a plan that we can bring to the market. And speed of delivery is incredibly important in the life science industry. We've noticed that on all the projects that we've worked on, including the Millipore building that we delivered, but also continuing. And also, I might add that the town, as Bob said, is getting a lot of attention, certainly through the pandemic and this interest in suburban locations for life science, and Burlington's being very quickly viewed and considered one of the top potential growing life science communities in the marketplace. So it is an active market right now, which we can't say for every market out there. And this is a great opportunity. So Will and I, in a couple of other meetings in front of the Conservation Commission and Board of Health, we've developed a good Dr. Pony show set up. So Will can share his screen. I can walk through some stuff, and together we can hopefully address any questions that you have. So hopefully Will can bring up the site plan. Great. Keep it zoomed out at the beginning just so we can orient everyone, Will. Just off the bottom right of the page, the driveway continues down the edge. That's the Summit Drive going down to Middlesex Turnpike. On the right side of that is the Best Buy parking lot, the back of the Best Buy parking lot. To the left of that driveway is the 200 Summit Drive building, where hopefully you guys are, I'm seeing Will's cursor, hopefully you guys are as well. The 200 Summit Drive building is circled, and then behind that is the Millipore building, which is 400 and 600 Summit Drive. What we are looking at here in the colored in area is what we've labeled 300 Summit Drive. And that consists of the white rooftop of a new building, which has been pushed to the very, very north, and sort of east is down, but north is pointing to the right of the page, and that's towards the highway, to try to locate the building as close to the highway and as far away from certainly any other residential areas. The building would be 4 stories with 1 level of parking below it. The level of parking is accessed from the north side, which is the highway side, right where Will is showing that, and there's parking underneath there. There is a small visitor parking area in the front of the building. And then there is a triangular parking area off to the what would be sort of the end of the building, and a parking area to the south side, which is on grade plus one level of an elevated deck over the parking on grade in that area to the south. The site is fully accessed from Summit Drive in two locations. There would be an entrance only for visitors coming in the front, and to the small visitor parking area into the building main entrance. And then the other entrance would be the main entrance into the parking to access all parking areas off of Summit Drive there. Part of the improvements that we propose as part of this is to widen the driveway from the top of the hill where the old cul-de-sac used to be, to create a boulevard, a median divided driveway in this area, so that there would be a tree-lined, center tree-lined street. And then in addition, there will be a continuation and extension of the sidewalk along the driveway, all along the edge, connecting all the way up to Millipore and connecting to the sidewalk that continues down Summit Drive into Middlesex Turnpike. There will also be an emergency access only driveway that will be provided around the north side of the building towards the end there, that will also be used as a walking path and to connect in. As many of you know, there is a walking path circuit out there today that will be either maintained or relocated in a couple of different areas. But as you can see in the white around the perimeter of the development, that will be maintained as well. As quick summary, we can obviously the site plan meets all of the open space requirements and parking requirements for the building. We've provided all of the details in the plans. We've provided traffic and Board of Health responses. The Board of Health has reviewed and approved this already. Conservation is reviewing it. They've had a couple of comments which have resulted in a minor redesign of the outfall from the detention pond, which is at the very northeast corner of the site. And we've modified that a little bit and doubled up some of the erosion control at that location per the conservation comments. So we have that in place, and I think we've received engineering comments which look to all be fairly standard as well, and see no issues there. So quick summary, just running through the site. I'm sure there will be a number of questions. Happy to answer and address any questions that you may have.
Okay. Great. I just want to point out, I know it typically is our policy to not permit things before there's actually a user or a tenant, but further point out, we have done it in the past in circumstances like this, unique circumstances like this, where, like as the applicant said, the life sciences want to identify and move quickly in these cases, and just to point out as well that, as Attorney Buckley had said, this is not the last of the process. Once a tenant is identified, they will be back in before us, to finalize all the occupancy in there. So,
Mr. Chairman, if I may, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Chairman, if I may, and importantly, not that the planning board isn't important, but in this industry, given the capabilities of the board, will be before the Board of Health under their new regulations, where they review the operations and procedures. So that's a very important.
Right. Thank you, Bob. Is there anything else? Do you guys have anything else more to present, or should we ask for some comments here?
Any
Kristen,
questions?
anything to add to that?
We'll be happy to answer any questions, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you. Kristen, do you have anything to add, or should I go to the members now for comments? I know it's early on, so there may not be any.
Yeah, thanks, Joe. No, I think we're still kind of reviewing the supplemental documents, the traffic report and some of the stormwater and just kind of sequence of events of constructing. There's some stormwater that's in this area now, just a sequence of events and how to deal with stormwater during construction here. And it's just kind of smaller things. The traffic report, I know we talked a lot about with life science in terms of traffic demand from traditional office and the demand that has been up at Millipore, obviously before March hit, which changed everything. But just understanding really the less trip generation from these types of life science uses and the uses in the buildings. And I think importantly, what we've seen over the last couple of months is if you drive around Burlington, where cars are and where buildings are still being utilized are the types of businesses, the additive manufacturing, such as the 3D printing and metal printing, as well as life science companies. You have to be in these buildings in these industries, and you have to use space. So I think it's important just to continue the story we've been telling for the last couple of years of just life science, but also the importance to diversify the space we have in Burlington. And with these spaces, especially with less trip generation, we're still reviewing the traffic study, but overall it seems like a pretty good story so far. And I think we should definitely be supporting building these types of buildings for these uses. But no, I mean, this is the first presentation with you guys. They've been before the Board of Health. As mentioned, the Board of Health did offer comments. A lot of the Board of Health review will be when the tenant is identified. And they're still with conservation, again, working out kind of just the ins and outs of sequencing. But we'll have more comment as probably prior to the next meeting on any specifics, and especially as we get into conditioning the application. So that's all I have. And what we would really like, though, is if there's any questions or additional information that the board's looking for with this proposal, to try to get that kind of feedback now, just so we can give feedback to the applicant, but also be prepared to answer at the next meeting.
Yep. Thank you, Kristen. I know it's early. I know it's early in the process, and this is really the first time we're seeing this. So the board members may have some questions, or they may more likely have maybe some additional information that they may be interested in seeing. So I'm just gonna, at this point, just kind of poll the board, and understandably, if they don't have any questions at this point, given the fact that it was the first time we've seen it, that's okay as well. So Paul, any comments at this point?
Yeah, I have several. One is something that's old to you people, but not to me, and that is way back when there was supposedly going to be, when you go up Summit Drive, if you go there now, you go a few hundred yards up behind Best Buy, and there's a regular street there. It's got granite curbing. It's wide enough to be a regular street, and it goes around back into the parking lot. And if you walk down that sometime, park in the parking lot and go up, and if you're walking down that, you look right over, and probably in 100 yards or so is the access road that runs along Route 128. And there was a proposal way back when to take that driveway and hook it to the access, which would greatly help relieve the traffic at that intersection down in front of Best Buy in the evening, when everybody that's coming out from all the places along that we have and want to take a left to go north into Beverly or wherever they live, and that intersection is just, you know, a difficult situation at almost any time. And I think it would greatly relieve the pressure on that if, in fact, when we have another potential building, and I predict that this will be filled fairly quickly, and I'll tell you that why that in a minute. But I think we ought to really reconsider that, and where there's a potential for this new building, and with everything that's happening in Burlington, I think we ought to go back to the state and ask them to reconsider giving us that access to the access road along Route 128, because that would take a lot of traffic right up by Best Buy, take a right around the corner, and you're on the access road going north. So that's my comment. And I don't know how we do that, because when we've previously talked with the state, you know, they dismiss us. They you know, they're spending all their money somewhere else. And I don't know why, with what we contribute to the economy, that we don't have a much higher place, if you will, in their understanding of what we need. And I just want to comment in general as to why I think that that building will be filled quite quickly. Not long ago, there was an article in the newspaper. A fellow by the name of Andy Orley sold his company Acme Packet for a cool 1.2 billion, and he's coming out to Burlington. And they asked him, why are you going out there? They say, why isn't he staying with the other cool kids who are all around Kendall Square? And he said he and his colleagues are just fine with being out in Burlington. Office space is affordable for a company planning to grow, and it's an easy commute for employees, and living outside the immediate metro area. And further than that, within the last week, there's an article of a man who sold his company in Burlington for $1 billion, and Clear Capital, Burlington company sold for $3 billion. So Burlington is becoming a major player, and the people who want to go somewhere and don't find a space right where they want it in Boston, considering Burlington, that's good. That's why I think in this location, there'll be a biotech company out there before my hair gets any grayer. Thank you.
Thanks, Paul. There's some good comments. I think just Ernie, any comments?
Sure. A couple of comments, some questions. I assume, Scott, that this will complete the campus. This is the last building that you can really build up there. Isn't that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And my next question is for Burlington Woods. That was yours also. How did you make out there when we permitted the building for life sciences? I think it was for life sciences, or for the labs anyways.
Yes. So a couple of comments just to reflect back. You guys did the same thing for the Millport Sigma building. That was also pre-permitted. It was originally two separate buildings. That's where the 400 and 600 Summit Drive came from. And when Millport came along, we came back to you guys. We had already vetted and covered all of the detail on the design and engineering. And we came back to you, and they wanted to mash the buildings together and make it one larger building. For Burlington Woods, we came to you for a lab permit so we could renovate the building to be lab ready. We are still pursuing tenants for that building, and it is we feel really good about it, but it's still a challenging market.
And is that because the building really wasn't originally built as a lab building, or was
So
it?
there are probably a number of things that were going on there. One, again, getting it finished and fully converted before people would really consider it. And we only actually just completed that a little bit earlier this year. And then the pandemic hit and there was a lot of downtime, even though life science companies have been really crazy busy. Every company had to figure out how they were going to proceed and go forward and what they could do through this time frame. So we are getting a lot more activity growing again, looking at the building. I think the size of it is 100,000 square feet is a little bit of a tough size for marketing new people. It's too small for the big companies and too big for some of the small companies.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit of a challenging size, but we do feel good, and there's been growing interest in Burlington for these types of uses. So,
okay, good. Thank
Chairman,
you.
Mr. Chairman, may I make a comment to Ernie's question?
Sure, go ahead, Bob.
Ernie, I just for your information, to supplement what Scott said, of the 3 properties that were rezoned to IH for the Life Science Initiative, I'm involved with all of them now, and I have to tell you that the interest is off the charts. There's been a tremendous amount of interest. The pandemic has changed a lot of things in terms of being able to address some of the issues that, from a design and architectural but I would say that over the last 4 months, I spent a significant amount of time, even on a smaller one, that there's a lot of interest. And I only think it's a matter of time. You're starting to see the exodus out of the central core, the intellectual talent that resides in this area. There's a lot of interest.
Good, thank you. And just let me just take a moment to express kudos to our planning director, Kristen, and her foresight and really pushing the life sciences thing. So we have some interest buildings to people to be interested in. And one other thing to Scott, I'm glad to see that you're not using all on-grade parking, and that you're putting a parking deck, I guess this would be called, in place of the surface parking and some parking under the building, as you said. And I was wondering, is this an opportunity to maybe take some of the currently existing on-grade parking for, I guess it would be the Millipore building is closest, and add and return that to natural space and add some of that parking to the parking deck, even if you have to make it a little bigger? Have you thought about that, or can you think about that?
We can look into that. We are, this building and project is being envisioned and designed and laid out as a standalone building. There could be cross-purpose use opportunities, but there's nothing committed at the moment.
Okay, if you could just take a look at that, I know that between now and the next meeting, it might just tell me if that's at all possible. Thank you.
Sure.
I'm all set, Mr. Chairman. All set, Joe.
Great, thanks, Ernie. Some great comments. Bill?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think that the comments I would have, probably with what Paul said, this is probably the last opportunity we get to get that exit off of, and I know Paul talked about the 95 access, but it's actually already laid out for the Route 3 North access right there, right next to it. You can see it in the picture. So the pavement's already there, the horseshoe's already there, it's already laid out. So I guess I'd ask the applicant to go back and advise us what is prohibiting that? What's the roadblock to getting access out one way only onto Route 3 North from let's say that walkway building you have here and just shoot it off to the right? The second comment I would have is that in front of the building onto the Route 3 North on-ramp, there's no landscaping there. So you basically have, the stark building there. And I thought maybe you could put some fairly large plantings there to kind of buffer that instead of just kind of seeing the building, and you can kind of buffer that. If you go to places where you go best in class, they incorporate a lot of vegetation to the building, so it softens up a bit versus just putting the hardscape there. And the third that I would be requesting staff to put in the decision is that the construction fence don't have any graphics on it. I think the last time we put up the last building, there was it was described as a construction netting fence. There was another fence there, but this one was, I think the applicant had said to hold back material, which actually wasn't the case because they actually had space between the end of the fabric to the ground. So that was, but it's the biggest sign that I think Burlington has ever seen, and that's exactly what it was. So let's put the construction fence and any fabric fencing for construction, not to have any graphics on it. I appreciate that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Great, thanks, Bill. And Mike?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to echo Ernie's comments. Kudos to Kristen and the planning staff for all the work they've done on life science. It's so exciting to see all these new potential buildings and facilities and companies coming to town. I have no real specific comments. I think as a preliminary look, I'm happy with this. I look forward to you guys bringing forward some tenants, and we can get down to the nitty gritty and get into some specific stuff. But as of right now, looking good, and happy to watch the project move forward. Thanks, Mr. Chairman.
Great, thanks, Mike. And Brenda?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think this is a great plan. I know how important it is to get property ready to bring to market and, get a tenant in there as quickly as possible. So I'm happy to assist and approve this and support, getting this approved. So you folks can get your tenants in the building. But I have nothing else to add. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Brenda. And my comments, one of them is actually unrelated, but it is related to something that Scott had mentioned. Scott, you had said you had another building that was 100,000 square feet, and it was kind of a odd size. It was too small for the big, too big for the small. Now, in those cases, would it not behoove you to, and I know you probably would rather have one tenant in a building like that, but, these life sciences and some of these buildings, some of these smaller companies, if you could fit two of them in that building and they fit just perfectly at this point in time, I would think that, that would be kind of the introduction into your office parks. And if you bring enough of these people into your parks, even the smaller users, inevitably, some of them, if not all of them, will be growing at some point in time and most likely want to move within your office parks. It's a good way to draw them into Burlington and into your parks by maybe setting them up so that you could maybe split some of these spaces that were too small for the big companies and too big for the small companies. You could, maybe divide them up a little bit and draw in more users that ultimately will grow within the town. Would that make sense, or?
Sure.
It's just too much of a hassle to have multiple users in a building,
No, and that's very much in line with the approach that we're trying to take. So for Burlington Woods, or as we've remarketed, it's referred to as the Burlington Biocenter, is a 4-story building. So we are looking at up to 4 tenants, and maybe they could go even smaller and you could split up floors. But yeah, we are looking at those, and you raise a really good point, because a lot of the companies in this marketplace are not the Millipore size. A lot of them are much smaller, and some of them start out, much smaller than that even. So yes, we are looking at the smaller companies. It still is a little bit of, it's hard on the first company that you put in there. You don't want a 5,000 square foot company, echoing across the space because there's nobody else there, and then precludes our ability to maybe do something bigger. So it is really a little bit challenging on that first tenant, not to go too small, but we do. We are now looking at multiple smaller tenants as well.
Great. All right. And my other comment is actually, I think, Paul, I appreciate the fact that you brought up that exit, that ramp, and Bill had agreed with him. I think it's a perfect time to at least look at that. I'm sure there are multitude of challenges to getting that built over there, but this does seem like a great time to at least open it up and try to address it. Even if this project isn't necessarily contingent, it could be something that was worked in, so it might be a longer term that it takes to get that done. But this would be the time to at least address it and bring it up. And I know Paul, that's been something you've been talking about for a long time, and I think it's time.
Well,
to
maybe Joe, maybe Brady can bring up a Google map of that and show so everybody can see what we're talking about here. Brady, is that an opportunity you can do that?
Yes, I can. Paul's been bringing up for a long time. Paul, there's two things Paul's been bringing up: that ramp and an Olive Garden.
Right.
Bob,
Which will come first?
He said he was going to get
Bob,
me one.
you haven't given us the Olive Garden yet, so
I will tell you,
ramp.
Paul and Joe, I went to my first Olive Garden in the last year, and it wasn't bad.
Yeah. All I know is Jim
Okay, there
Kramer
we
loved
go.
him. Jim Kramer, it's his favorite restaurant, and he's a
Yeah.
restaurant owner, right?
Yeah.
Thanks, Brady. So if everybody can look, so if you look at what's going on here, you're right where you can kind of push out where this 300 Summit Drive's going to be, right? And just look right there. It's staring you right in the face. It's there. It's already been mapped out. It's now, it's got some gravel and it's dirt, but it's there. It's an easy hookup, and all you do is crank right onto Route 3 North and think about the outlet there. And like you said, Paul, you don't have that traffic down at the bottom where you're going to have to do the same thing to get to Route 3 North. You're going to have to go down the bottom of Summit Drive, wait for the light. Then you're going to have to take the left. Then you're going to have to take the right onto 95 South and to get onto Route 3 North. It's an elegant solution. And I'd be really interested on what the roadblocks are and what's prohibiting that, and what it'll take. Let's kind of think of, instead maybe why I can't do it, maybe how can you do it? I always take that approach in my day job, is to say, don't give me how you can't do it, tell me how you can do it. And let's take a look at that. Different approach, possibly.
Mr. Chair, if I may?
Yes, sure.
Just respond to it. Member Gaffney, I'm not sure if you were around for this. I know, Member Raymond, we've gone through this quite a few times. Actually, the access from our site onto that ramp in that way is actually pretty simple. It's a simple design. You're right. We're all for it. We would greatly benefit. All of the Summit Drive properties would greatly benefit from having that ramp. We were on the same page. It's the Highway Department, the DOT, that has said absolutely, positively, in no uncertain terms will that ever happen. We're happy to ask the question again and raise it. And the rationale on this is what you see. I don't know. I can't point, but the ramp that is the loop that is just off of what is Summit Drive is abandoned. That was constructed by the Highway Department and closed almost as soon as it was opened. And that ramp was not allowed because it was too close. It doesn't meet highway design standards. And then the concern about adding a new connection into to get onto Route 3 North was, again, the proximity and the number of movements. So the highway department is, and not just highway, DOT and transportation professionals everywhere, when it comes to highway design, are very, very, very concerned about multiple decision-making points in short distances when you're traveling at higher speeds. So they're always trying to spread out the number of merges and diverges and locations like that. We're happy to go ask the question again. We would benefit from it, so we have no reservations. And if we flip back to our plan, our emergency access drive could very easily become that on-ramp onto the highway.
Yeah.
So again, as in the past, we're not going to do anything to preclude this from happening. And we would be in a position where it could be a great amenity. But in the past, the DOT has said in no uncertain terms, and I think we may have had it years ago, that it will not happen.
Yeah. So what you may think about in proposing that, if you think about different other places that have challenges with traffic and getting onto highways, so how do they deal with that, right? So as I think about that, I think of California, right, in the valley, and how they deal with that is they have stoplights on the on-ramp, right? And so there's proximity sensors down the way, and if it's opportunity for the car to get to the access, they get a green light, and it's only one person per traffic stop, right? Then the light goes red. Then the proximity senses when it's available for the next car to go, it turns green. The next car goes, it's only one car per. So, there's maybe things previously that the state didn't consider with technologies available now that might make that be really, really safe, and probably safer than any other on-ramp that you have in the state.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is we could maybe coordinate with, Ken Gordon and, our senator and, some of the people that would, maybe would need to be contacted anyway to see if this is even a possibility. Maybe we have some sort of a, meeting where we can discuss it with them, at least initially,
Yeah, that's great, Joe. Thanks.
Gutierrez is open to that idea,
Sure, we'll get, and I know Ken was helpful in getting some progress made on this interchange several years ago by the DOT, and they shared some of their long-range plans at that time.
Okay.
Well, this is Paul, if I may. It took a long time, but simple things can make a big difference. And ask the people who are coming north on 95 how easy it is to now that, or how much easier it is now that there are 2 lanes instead of 1. For years, that was set up with 1 lane, and the traffic backs off down into Lexington and to Waltham sometimes on a Friday night for people that want to go to Route 3. And when they put that as a lane, and they ask anybody that's down there, there was a former member of the planning board said it made all the difference having 2 lanes going around there and up onto Route 3 going north. And, I can't see why, that traffic is just going to add additional traffic to that intersection on the Middlesex Turnpike. And you could at least take the traffic that's going north on 3 and
Absolutely. Yep.
set it that way. And also, you could take the traffic that's going north on 95 and shoot a ramp on there right behind Best Buy, and it's already there. By the way, this is an old map because it shows that road you were talking about that's paved. It was part of it's still on the map, but that road was abandoned long ago. And it's interesting because you get down there, you see, a nice paved road. You say, what the hell happened with that? But at any rate,
Yeah.
I think that I don't know if it was Bill's comment, or whoever, that we got to get creative, and times change as far as the technologies that are available, and maybe something that wasn't considered able to be done even 10 years ago, with the technology we have now. Might be able to made to work. So I think we ought to keep an open mind about it and see if we can't get the state to do the same.
Yeah, it's worth it. It's worth to sit down with them and see if it's even going to be a possibility, right? Okay, great. Paul, you all set? Or?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. We could probably even, if it ends up coming to reality, we could call it the Raymond Ramp.
Yeah, somebody told me that they was going to make it the Raymond Ramp, and I said, well, I'm going to take my lawn chair and sit out there in the middle of the loop if it's ever done.
Yeah, you'd be like, like Kramer on Seinfeld. You adopt the highway and you paint your own lines on it after that, right? You'll sit out there and pick up the papers on it.
I'm not going to live that long, Joe.
Okay, I think so. Are we good with comments on that as far as the board goes, right? If so, I'm going to open it up to the public and see if there's anybody in our audience that would have any comments, questions, or concerns that they'd like to share.
Seeing nobody.
Nobody. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, can I, before you move on with this, can I just echo what you said earlier? Both Scott and I work closely with the planning board staff on these initiatives, and I would like to compliment the staff because picking up on the comment that was just made in terms of being innovative, this was extremely innovative, and it's not only paying off from a development and economic activity standpoint, but I think the state will be more receptive to requests for funding and things going forward because of this initiative.
Yeah, I agree. And thanks for pointing that out. I think you're absolutely right. And these are things that are benefiting the state, and the state should really understand that these are projects that benefit everybody, not just the town of Burlington. But okay.
Okay.
Nobody in the audience. No other comments from anybody on the board. Kristen, any other comments?
Not at this time.
We going to continue this?
Okay.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to continue this to the planning board meeting of November 19th, 2020.
I'll second. This is Mike.
Any second? Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Roll call.
Liz?
Someone shake her. Shake Liz.
Due to sleep. Uh-oh.
You want me to roll call?
No, she's coming.
Hi, sorry, I was just having bandwidth issues. So are we ready for roll call? Is that correct?
Yep.
Correct.
Yes, yep.
I'm having
Roll call.
trouble
Chairman
hearing
Impemba.
everybody. My computer's not doing
Yes.
well. Can people hear me?
We
Yes.
can now. We
Good.
can now.
Okay, so
Okay,
Vice
good.
Chairman Impemba.
We can't now. I can't.
Joe, she just called you.
can't make up-
No.
Yeah, she did.
I
I'm
didn't
just
hear
hoping that she's going to be able to. Yes, for me. So if-
I think she's out. Kristen, why don't you take it?
Okay, Member Clerk
I think
Raymond.
she is, too.
Yes.
Member Cavino. Member Gaffney.
Yes.
Member Españo.
Yes.
Member Rappaport.
Yes.
All right. We'll see you guys in a couple weeks.
Thank you. Stay healthy, everyone.
Thank you
Yeah,
Oh,
very
thank
much.
you.
Appreciate the
Yeah,
time.
thank you. Thanks, Scott.
Good night. All right. What do we got here? Other matters?
Minute.
Is that where we are? Other matters?
No, we're on minute.
Let me see
We're
here.
on minute.
October
We're on
15th.
minutes.
Yep.
Wait a minute. I messed up here. Hold on. Oh, we got the minutes right. Sorry about that. October 15th minutes. We have are we ready to vote on those?
I am.
Do we have enough people ready to vote on the minutes?
Well, I think there were two that came out, Joe. There's one for October 15th and there's one in August that I can't vote
Motion
on.
to,
Okay.
Go ahead.
You want to go with the October? We'll go with the.
Yeah, let's go
you
through
can't vote on
October
the
1.
August. Who else? Do we have anyone else for August or no? I don't see August on here, but
Well, they came in on Brady's email, right, Brady? You had August and October.
we just have having connectivity issues.
We
don't
just
have
have
August on my,
October.
Everything is going in and out. I'm gonna get off.
Okay, we just have October
I'm gonna-
15th on the staff report. If you guys want to vote on August, we can do that as well, but in the staff report, we just have October 15th.
Okay.
Okay, so Bill can't vote on August anyway. Barbara's not here to vote on August. Do we have anybody else who can't vote on August?
Kristen, just a quick question.
Yeah.
Those are not from a planning board meeting. Those are the joint meeting from the August 12th. So who is eligible to vote on those minutes?
Well,
Whose meeting was it?
it's the whole board, so all three boards would vote.
Yeah.
And then we'd.
I think that-
You know what I'm gonna do? You know what, guys? I'm gonna hold on the August.
Okay.
I'm gonna hold on the August
I
minutes.
thi-
Let's just go on the October minutes.
I think there were only a few planning board members at that meeting in August. Am I correct?
Yeah.
That's correct.
Yeah, so, okay. You want a motion to approve the minutes of October 15th, 2020?
Yes.
Seconded
Yes.
by Mike.
Yep. Okay, been motioned and seconded.
Vice Chairman
Roll call.
Impemba.
Yes.
Vice Chairman Impemba. Member Clerk Raymond.
Yes.
Member Cavino.
Yes.
Member Espejo.
Yes.
Member Gaffney.
Yes.
Member Rappaport.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. So we now are at other matters, and I guess discussion, staff updates. Kristen, do you
Yep, so I'll take that
have
one.
any updates?
Yeah, we just had a couple things we wanted to just let you guys know about. So the stormwater rules and regulations, stormwater bylaw is being updated by the conservation staff, commission staff, as well as, working with the Conservation Commission. I will be sending you guys the red line of the revised updates they're looking for. It's in the general bylaw, not the zoning bylaw, but did want to make you guys aware. They do want to come to our next meeting for a couple minutes and just describe the changes to you, so they'll be at our next meeting. Also, economic development, as you guys know, we hired Melissa Tentakoulis. She's been fantastic. I know some of you have worked closely with her on some of the committees, such as the Economic Development Committee that Brenda and Mike have been sitting on to look at some of the mall options for redevelopment. So anyway, she also wants to just come to do kind of a quick update on what her efforts are and moving forward at our next meeting for a couple of minutes. And then the last thing I just wanted to update you guys on for town meeting, January town meeting, the deadline was October 27th. We did submit 2 warrant articles. One of them is a warrant article to revise the wireless zoning bylaw, which we've mentioned. We went to town meeting back in May, or I guess it was June town meeting, to get some funding for a couple different things surrounding wireless. One was the existing zoning bylaw written after the 1996 kind of federal regulations on zoning is very much outdated. There's been some federal regulation as well as case law. Most importantly, the 2012 Economic Tax Relief Act in 2012 changed quite a bit of what the kind of powers are within the municipalities, and not necessarily
anyway, our language is conflicting with some of those, not to just kind of give up that we have, we don't have powers, but we're just getting in these kind of ridiculous arguments. It just needs to be straightened out. So we've submitted that. I don't have a good draft yet. I'm working with council to figure out what the specific areas or kind of red flags are. If we can do it in two parts, being, part of those initial red flags, we can resolve in January, we will. If we can get the whole wireless situation ironed out before January town meeting, I'd be surprised, but I wanted to at least placeholder it for now. Because it is something important that we need to work on. The second piece is we have a whole bunch of just random housekeeping things that have come up. And I can see that Sherry's on this, on the meeting now as well. But anyway, between zoning bylaw review, just looking at the zoning bylaw, just a couple, I don't know, and even just the last revisions that we did at town meeting, there's a few very small things that need corrections. So anyway, we have a housekeeping amendment, which I'll send around to you guys. One of the bigger items in the housekeeping amendment that's actually not a huge thing, but there has been a lot of discussion about the definition section of the bylaw, and we go to 3 decimal points. So it's, it's all Article 2, but it's Article 2.1 is A, Article 2.2 is B, and then for each one after that, we give them another letter. So as we continue to add definitions, we have like a chain of 7 decimal points out numbers in order to be alphabetically in order, which anyway, so we're just looking to correct the way we number the definition sections. And that's it. So that's what we're looking at for January. I hate to miss January because zoning's up first. So I like to at least try to get something cleaned up with the zoning bylaw, and those will all be advertised for the first meeting in December. So that's our staff update for now.
Okay, great. Correspondence, reports from town council, subcommittee reports, unfinished business and new business. We have any of those?
Nope.
Nope.
Unless members have something to bring up.
Anybody? We all set? All right, well, I'm not making any suggestions, but I just want to point out that I'm getting us out of here at 8:30, and I'm not sure if Barbara's ever done that before. I'm not suggesting that we oust her, but, just keep in mind that 8:30 and we're getting out of here.
Motion
Just
to
go,
adjourn,
Barbara.
Mr. Chairman.
If I haven't already voted, I'd
Second.
vote for you.
Second.
All right, roll call. So
Okay.
roll call. Vice Chairman Impemba,
Yes.
Member Clerk Raymond,
Yes.
Member Covino,
Yes.
Member Gaffney,
Yes.
Member Espejo,
Happily, yes.
Member Rappaport.
Yes, thank you.
All right. Very
Good
good.
night, guys.
Thank you, everybody.
Night, everyone.
We'll,
Night,
Night.
everyone.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, guys.